So remember to send your comments here for Q&A a little bit later on in the show, but my next guest has his own beer. That's how cool this guy is. He and I actually go so far back. Once upon a time, we almost ended up hosting a show together in Houston. He has risen to incredible heights. He's now the go-to sports radio show in Atlanta. You also hear him on my old home, formerly CBS Sports Radio, part of the Odyssey Sports Network, now Infinity Sports Radio on Sunday mornings. So good to have my good friend on from the ATL, the Dirty 92.9 The Game, Carl Dukes. Brother, how are you, man? I haven't seen you in a minute.
It's been a while. DA, I'm doing great, man. It's good to see you and good to chop it up. You know, it's always good to get caught up with what's going on in the world of sports with you, man. Listen, I admire the fact that you've been able to do all these different things. And hell, you're hosting a show on a Sunday. You know what I mean?
Gamer.
So,
That's gamer.
yes, you are the man. But it's good to see you, man. Good to talk with you.
You too. Should we tell everybody where they can get your beer? Can we still get that beer? What's going on?
You mean this beer?
That's the beer I'm talking about. Look at this. That's how cool this cat is. That's right. That's right.
Well, listen, we're fortunate, man. The beer's been out since 2018. And, you know, people, they ask me all the time, like, how did this come about? What happened? How did this? And it's a long story, but bottom line is it's been, you know, very successful. You can get it in the state of Georgia at all Publix locations. So, you know, you go to a grocery store. If they don't have it, you can ask for it. They'll get it at your location. It's at mom and pops, liquor stores and package stores. The big places like Total Wine and Bullock's and all the big spots. You can get it all over, man. So make sure you get a chance to check it out. And we've got two versions, by the way. This is the original. I'm trying to get in the camera scene here. Hey Man, which is a blonde ale. And then behind me here, as you see, that's the watermelon lime. So that's a spring, summer. It actually does really well. So check out both of them, man. Since we're promoting the beer, thank you.
Of course, yeah. So we got a lot of listeners in Georgia. I know that we have a lot of listeners that listen to me when I did the overnights and nights on 92.9 The Game or on affiliates in Atlanta. So if you're in the state of Georgia, you can get the Hey Man from Carl, either the blonde or the watermelon lime. That is amazing for the summer. Absolutely amazing. So I don't know how you did it, dude. I don't know how you called this thing, but Nostraducus did it again. Somehow you're the only man in America that saw the Falcons drafting Michael Penix Jr. at number 8. You had this last week. How did you know this was going to go down?
DA, I'll be honest with you. I wasn't 100% sure. What I did know is that they were very interested. And to be honest with you, I said on this, I do this podcast with Brian Baldinger and Jason Lock-on-4 as well. It's called In the Huddle. And we've been talking about the draft and leading up to the draft, and we're throwing different scenarios at each other. But this last week, we talked about this. Wow. And I was sitting on this, and what I mean by that is to bring it to Atlanta. We were focused on edge rushers. We were focused on defense. We were focused on the common sense things that make sense for this team to improve immediately. But Tuesday, I came in, and it was kind of funny because the show that's on before us is Andy and Randy, and Randy McMichael played in the NFL. And we were talking as we came on, and he said, well, you know, pretty much everything's done, right? I mean, we don't have anything else to talk about before Thursday. And I said, screw it. And I said, we came on, and I just said, Atlanta, what if they draft Michael Penix at 8? And people lost their mind. Because the idea was so far-fetched. It was just completely out of the realm of what anybody was thinking. So what I did know is they had, and it's public knowledge now, but all these workouts, they worked him out basically 3 separate times. 2 of those were private. Nobody really knew about it. They went to meet him at a location and had another meeting with him. So when you're that interested and everybody's thinking edge and everybody's thinking defense, there's something to that. And I just felt like if he's there is a really good shot. And so that day I pressed Atlanta and basically saying, look, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but understand there's a really good chance that this could happen and you need to prepare yourself. And people were pissed off, DA. They were mad because they're like, we just spent this money on Kirk Cousins. What the hell are you talking about? They couldn't comprehend the idea that the Falcons would do something like this. So once I went there, and then I just sat back Thursday night when the city was, on fire with what the hell is this team doing? I'm sitting there laughing. And as I posted, this is what I told you guys, and nobody wanted to believe it. So it was a little bit of luck, but it was also obviously a lot of knowledge of their interest level was completely off the charts.
Carl Dukes is sourced. I'll put it that way. He is hashtag sourced. All right. So I don't understand the pick because if you spend $100 million on Kirk Cousins, you would want the number 8 pick overall to support winning for Kirk Cousins. If you have the number 8 pick and you love Michael Penix, you could get a much cheaper bridge quarterback so that it's not a real, tension point that Penix isn't playing because you've got all this money wrapped up in your starting quarterback. Also, if you're going to draft Michael Penix and you spend all that money on Cousins, you're not spending money on players that can support Michael Penix. So logistically, does this make sense for the Falcons to have done it?
It's a great question. And I think for most people, they feel exactly like you do. And that is why this is hard to comprehend. I will simply say this franchise has been in quarterback purgatory for the last few years. And to be quite honest, even at the end of Matt Ryan's tenure, when the team wasn't really good and he was deteriorating, and he is the all-time best franchise quarterback this team's ever seen, this franchise has ever seen. But you haven't been in the playoffs in the last 7 years. And you just went through Marcus Mariota, who basically quit on the team, and then Desmond Ridder, who was a complete fail. And so from that standpoint, DA, you have to understand, new coach comes in, Raheem Morris, general manager still here, Terry Fontenot, and he says, okay, we cannot be in this position again. But I have to say this. The owner wanted this. And I think that's very important to point out. Arthur Blank wanted this. And so when we talk about why, it starts there. And Arthur Blank, his background. And for those who don't, he started Home Depot. He's a brilliant businessman, billionaire, time over, 3 or 4 times over, whatever it is. But Arthur Blank understands customer service. He understands audience. He understands the appeal of what the city needs. And what I mean by that is he understands that this team has not been exciting whatsoever. You have to create some excitement. You have to create some tension for the fan base to kind of be like, hey, I'm interested. What's going on? What's going to happen? Now, I don't think they're looking for a quarterback controversy, which may or may not happen just based on how this went down. But DA, he understands how to move the needle. And so when the owner was all in, and he was, I think it made it really easy for the rest of the front office to basically say, look, we've done our research and we want him and we're going to draft him. I'm not telling you it makes sense financially, but if the owner says, hey, I'm willing to pay Kirk Cousins $45 million over the next 2, if we want out, we can get out and it won't kill us in the 3rd year. If he stays in the 3rd year, it's $10 million. In the 4th year, there's no guaranteed money. So I think from that standpoint, with the cap going up and where this team has been, just from an interest level standpoint, the owner was willing to do it and the team made the decision to do it.
This is why we have you on the show to dig into this, because the visual from draft night was Terry Fontenot seemingly convincing Arthur Blank or explaining to Arthur Blank why they did that. So we thought from the outside, oh God, even the owner's like, what are you doing here? But you're saying Blank knew all along this was the plan.
He did. And I'll tell you what that conversation was about, because I just talked to Terry on Friday. I asked him point blank about that, because the perception, and there's no verbal, right? You don't hear anything. You just see him animated with his hands. Terry, they make the pick to get Michael Penix Jr. He is then explaining to Arthur Blank how they're trying to get back into the first round. You know who they wanted? Latu. They were trying to get back into the first round and get Latu. It didn't happen, obviously. And so that's the moment where he's like, we're trying to get back in. We're going to go quarterback. We're going to go edge. We're going to knock this out to in this first round. It didn't happen that way, but that was the conversation. It was nothing negative. It was not Arthur Blank fussing or bitching at the fact that he, disliked the pick. You don't take a quarterback at 8 without your owner's blessing, especially under the situation that the Falcons were in. You just don't.
After they asked for $100 million from Arthur Blank for another quarterback, I don't think they could have drafted a different quarterback and not told him for it, right?
Correct. So that from that standpoint, I think people just feel like these general managers, and listen, it depends on who you are. You know, if you're Brett Veach in Kansas City, DA, you do what the hell you want, right? I mean, you're a Super Bowl champion. You've drafted excellent over the last X amount of years. You know how well the roster's been built. That's a different story. Terry is not in that position. And so nothing was going to be done like this without the owner's blessing. So yes, he was aware, he knew, he backed it, and I think he understands what it could mean for the franchise in the city if things go right.
So give us then just the pie chart right now on the fan base in Atlanta. Like you said, you suggested this before the draft and people came out with the pitchforks. Yeah. Now that it's done, have Falcons fans come around on it?
No. I mean, no,
definitely not.
No, we're 2 days, we're 2 days removed, right? 3 days removed or whatever it is. No, listen, I think people have taken a deep breath and kind of said, all right, they did go draft defense. Their next 4 picks, by the way, were defense, right? And that's what everybody was clamoring for. You got all these weapons, Pitts and Drake London and Bijan. You got to go get some damn defense. They knew that. So they went defense, and I actually like the players they drafted, not being biased or too close to it. They actually drafted some dogs. How they'll be used with Jimmy Lake, the defensive coordinator, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But no, I think this is still going to be one of the hot button issues, whether the team likes it or not. No one was just going to accept, hey, they drafted Michael Penix, and it's cool. Especially after what you did. I think most football fans feel like if you wanted Penix, which they didn't know 4 months ago, you start doing your research and you're diving in. But if you wanted Penix, you don't pay Kirk Cousins. You spend that money to go pay defensive free agents. You better your defense, and then you just draft him, right? You just find a way to go get him. I'd love to tell you that works out in everybody's mock draft. DA, these mock drafts are crap, okay? They never work out the way you want them to. So, my partner, he loves mock drafts, and I tell him every year, it's bullshit, okay? It's never going to work out the way you want. So when this happened, everybody freaked out. You know why everybody freaked out? That's not what I have on my mock draft. My mock draft has the Falcons taking an edge rusher. They freaked out because it never goes that way. So if you have a chance to get a quarterback, and I do agree with this philosophy because it's a quarterback league, you get him. If you like him enough, your convictions on that quarterback is 100%, you take him. And I don't give a damn what anybody says. Last year, Jahmyr Gibbs was drafted by the Detroit Lions. They got killed. He's great. And they're using him the right way. You've got to believe in the player you're drafting. Do not care about what people say. And that is where the Falcons were. So, no, people are not accepting it, but I do think they will. They're going to come around. But you know this, DA, they got to win games. I mean, everybody's got to win games, man. I mean, at the end of the day, if this team sucks, they start 1-5 or something crazy, they're going to get killed. So this has to work in the way that they're hoping, which is Cousins leads them, hopefully, to the playoffs. They have winning seasons, and then it's a nice transition. But even that is a fantasy because I'm under the impression that Cousins may not even get to the end of this deal.
I had a few winners of the NFL draft, but the number one winner was Carl Dukes. Already the number one sports radio show in Atlanta, and then was the only guy in America that predicted they would take Penix, and then got a quarterback controvery starting in April. I mean, this is the best thing ever for you. You could not have written it any better. This is the best. The next 2-3 years of your life is just going to be scripted every single day on the air.
So you know what's funny? Because we're in this. I got 3 text messages from 3 close friends that are in the business, and they all said the same thing. Radio gold. Right?
You got it right.
Oh, man. And I'm laughing. But, yeah, listen, I didn't ask for it, but I'll take it. I'll take it. I didn't ask for it, but, hey, bring it to me. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, I at the end of the day, I want this team to do well just because it's the team we cover. But, I don't know how this is going to shake out. And everybody's convinced. Part of this, too, DA, real quick about the Penix thing is, everybody's like his age. He was one of these kids or one of these young guys that COVID affected. So he went back to school, right? And he said to me the other day, he's like, dude, I wanted to come back. I just didn't want one good year. I wanted 2 good years to come back and show everybody, hey, I'm the real deal. So he goes back to school. A lot of these guys, if you look at them, they had the extra year. Hell, Bo Nix has been in school 9 years. You know, I mean, it's ridiculous. So everybody's tripping about his age when I'm just like, there's nothing you can do about that. All we can worry about is what he's going to be on the field. I don't care when he gets on the field, but people are like, he'll be 30 when he gets on the field. Relax. Relax.
This is great. We've had a couple of listeners already say that they're all about this for you. One of our good listeners, Randy in Alabama, saying, I'm heading to Publix now. I'm going to go get Carl's beer.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, Ralph said he met you in Houston at a wine bar and said you were the real deal. So you got friends here. The D-Aliens love you. And Carl is truly family to me. We go back a long ways, probably 15 years or so. He's always looked out for me, and I appreciate that very much. And when I asked him today if you'd come on, he's like, absolutely, man, no problem, anything for you. So definitely, if you're in the Georgia area, Atlanta area, support him. That beer, I'm sure, is killer. I've never had it before, but I'm sure it's great. Next time I'm down there for a college football game or a Falcons game, I'm coming.
Have your producer send me the business address, man, and I'll send your whole crew some, because I know you got like the Howard Stern staff now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We got a lot of mouths to feed now. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So send me the address, man. I'll send the whole crew some brew. All right, no doubt.
All right, right on, man. Carl Dukes, check him out. 92.9 The Game in Atlanta. He crushes it every single day. Also on Infinity Sports Radio, my old home, which used to be CBS Sports Radio on Sunday mornings, and also the podcast as well. Jason Lock and Four and Company in the Huddle with Carl and the guys are great on the NFL as well. And check out his beer at a lot of places in Georgia and the Atlanta area. Carl, you're the man. I appreciate you very much, buddy.
Thank you, brother. Hey, and all the love, man. You know how I feel about you, and I'm so happy you're having the success. You deserve it. You work your butt off. I know it, and congratulations on everything that has happened to you, and I'm looking forward to getting a chance to catch up and have a drink with you when we see each other soon.
Means a lot, brother. Appreciate that very much, man. Back at you.
Thank you so much, DA. Have a great day,
all right,
man.
See you, buddy. Carl Dukes joining us tonight here on the show. Amazing stuff.